start in the ATL. So we can't wait for him to come back and tell us all about it.
Look lit.
But he missed out because today is what? It's
Hump Day.
No, we gotta wait because BC was fixing the camera and I needed
in.
my video. He already knows what time it is. All right, he's on a flight, so he's gonna miss it because guess what day it is? It's Hump Day.
Mike. What day is it, Mike? Listen, guess what today is?
It's Hump Day.
Woo woo!
Yeah. Shout out to Humpty the camel, always making my day, my hump days fun and exciting. Speaking of fun and exciting, did you watch basketball last night?
I watched a little bit of it.
There was a lot of excitement. It was very, very rare. We had two good doubleheaders.
For real.
Primetime games. Usually one's like and the other one's good, or vice versa. We got two of them. So we're going to dive into that. But what's your headline around the league today, B-Flow?
Should Dak thank McCarthy for his MVP type season?
More Cowboys talk.
You can't get enough of the Cowboys.
Yay! More Cowboys talk.
Can't get enough of the Cowboys.
Listen, mine is non-football related. I'm sure all of our viewers will be happy about that. I think people get a little bit of football. What's the word I'm looking for?
We love football.
Little football anxiety, little exhaustion, shall I say. Mine are all NBA topics. One, if you stayed up for the 10 o'clock game, you got a good one. It was Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
The Golden State Warriors versus the Boston Celtics came down to the wire, and Steph did what Steph always does, and that is come through in the clutch in the most prolific, poetic, just absolutely insane way possible. We'll dive into that. But if you watched the game prior to that, you saw Ja Morant make his return after his 25-game suspension against the New Orleans Pelicans. And in case you were wondering, Ja is still him. All right, so we're going to talk about that too. But first, the Cowboys. Here we go. Guys, don't yell at me in the chat, okay? I don't dictate the topics, all right? So do not yell at me. I understand Cowboy fatigue. I get it, okay? Make this quick. The Cowboys were outplayed and outcoached during their loss to the Bills on Sunday. That's an understatement. We got dragged. But despite the loss, Jerry Jones was ready to heap praise on the coaching staff, specifically Mike McCarthy, which is a long cry from the way Cowboys fans were approaching him last season and even the season before that. Now take a listen to what Jerry had to say on the radio yesterday about Mike McCarthy's coaching season.
I think the fact that he's your offensive coordinator as well as your head coach puts him in as high or higher stead than when he was the walk-around coach. All of those things are positive. I frankly said to the staff yesterday, you got us in this spot to be as disappointed as we are about the Buffalo spot. It's your fault because y'all have done such a great job this year getting our team to where we, our fans, everybody, have the expectations that we have. Now, y'all caused us to be disappointed here on Monday by not living to that standard up there. I didn't spend my day in there looking grumpy or looking however you might look, even though we were all disappointed. Part of the best part of our team this year has been the coaching staff.
All right, listen, Mike McCarthy has won 34 games over the last 3 seasons. So is Jerry right that the best part of this team this year is the coaching staff?
I agree. Like when Jerry Jones talks, sometimes he be a little off, but a lot of things that Jerry Jones say are valid, right?
Uh-huh.
The way Dan Quinn had the defense playing, like at the beginning of the season,
Quinn.
like it was insane. It's one thing to have athletes, one thing to have players, but to get them in sync, playing the same style of ball, gelling, creating turnovers the way they do. I mean, it's almost contagious. Even last game, against the Buffalo Bills, I know the Buffalo Bills came out and scored on their first possession, but it was mainly because of a penalty.
Right.
The second drive, it was because like a roughing the punter or something like that. So their defense are getting off the field. They creating turnovers. They stopping opposing offenses in the red zone, and that all is because Dan Quinn. And we've seen so many different all-star caliber players on one defense and still can't do what they're doing. Now, if you go to the other side of the ball, Mike McCarthy has Dak Prescott playing football. After CeeDee Lamb came out and said, yo, I need the ball, I think that was the biggest coaching, like, kind of tweak that Mike McCarthy had, because once he tweaked his offense and got CeeDee Lamb the ball, like, this offense seemed unstoppable until, they played Buffalo last week. Dak Prescott passer rating was 91 last year, and now it's 104 now. That means he's way more efficient. He looks more comfortable. If you look at Dak, even when he's taking his drops, taking his 3-step drops, taking his 5-step drops, he looks like he knows where to go with the ball. And we always said we want to see Dak with a coordinator like a Mahomes, whereas when he hit that back foot, he knows where he's throwing the ball. Instead of trying to beat one-on-one coverage, trying to fit it in the tight windows, he needs a coordinator who can create an offense can schematically get his players open. And that's what McCarthy gave him this year. So that's why Dak looks so much more poised. He looks more calm, and that's why he might win the MVP. So I think the coaches definitely 100% is the reason why the coaching is the biggest reason why the Cowboys are looking like they might be one of the best teams in the NFL this year.
Well, I mean, you answered the question in your answer, basically, how much credit does Mike McCarthy deserve for the season Dak is having? I would say I would like to give it like a 60-40. No. Yeah, making sure my math is right on that. A 60-40. I think that also it's Dak, figuring out his pocket as a quarterback, his bag as a quarterback. I think sometimes in previous seasons, you saw Dak trying to do a lot of things, some that weren't quite natural to him. And I think that caused a lot of hesitation, especially when it came to having the ball leave his hand quick enough. He seems more poised. He seems more sure
that's
of.
Like, give it to McCarthy, though, like more of a percentage where it's like, I feel like.
That's what I'm saying. I'm giving it 60 McCarthy for 40
That's almost
Dak.
50-50, though. That's like.
Okay, so 50-50?
No, I think 60-40 is kind of low.
No, I can't give it all to McCarthy.
You can't give it all to McCarthy?
No, because it also is the work of the quarterback and what he does in the offseason, how he changes the game. And also Dak's about to be a dad. Maybe his mindset's different. He has a different level of inspiration, a different level of motivation. So I don't want to say 50-50. I'm giving more of the credit to McCarthy because he's figured out a way to utilize Dak and what he does well, as well as the offensive coordinators and everyone on the offensive side of the ball. But I still have to give some credit to the guy himself and what the work that he's done in the offseason. Because at the end of the day, like, you can go ahead and instill all these things into a quarterback and make it as easy for them as possible to succeed. But if the quarterback doesn't have it and doesn't have it within themselves, not only what he does on the field, but what he does off the field, that's kind of falling on deaf ears. So I would go 60-40. I think Dak's just having a phenomenal year. And sometimes it takes quarterbacks. I mean, Dak's 30 years old. Like, usually between the ages of like 27 to 30, you really see quarterbacks come into their own. That's really like their prime years, if you will. Like, they really figured out their game. They figured out what works, what doesn't. And I think that Dak, I say this all the time, when he got injured, it drastically changed the way that he played the game. You can even see it sometimes still. He's very hesitant to run.
And what makes him deadly is when he uses legs.
And when he uses his legs. And prior to that injury, he was a quarterback who liked to leave the pocket like a lot. And I think that the season after that injury and even the season after that, it was still trying to figure out how to have aspects of that, but to protect his longevity. And I feel like he finally found a sweet spot. And you see it. He's more comfortable in the offense. The ball leaves his hand quicker. He knows when to run, not to run. And I also think that here we go, like, helps him and the offense get set. He's figured out, like, his Omaha. That I just think that it's part Dak, mostly McCarthy. But we got to ask about the elephant in the room. Everybody wants to talk about the playoffs, postseason for the Dallas Cowboys, and what happens, what doesn't happen, what will happen, what won't happen. Regardless of how the Cowboys do in the playoffs, how far they go, does Mike McCarthy deserve an extension, and does Dak Prescott deserve an extension?
Mike McCarthy, you can't extend him until he go deep in the playoffs. Like, that's what you bring a head coach into Dallas for. Jerry Jones go build up the team. I need you to get us to the promised land. Regular season don't matter with the Dallas Cowboys. There's some teams in the NFL where the regular season.
You don't gotta tell me. I know.
Like, it doesn't count.
Been there.
Like, whatever you done in the regular season, like, yeah, we give you a little pat on the back. But when you get to the playoffs, that's what we really see what you made of. So until Mike McCarthy go at least to the NFC Championship, I don't think you should talk about an extension. You know, coaches usually get extended early. They never wait until their last year. So
let's say, I'm not going to say it, but, you know, what do you do then at the coaching position? Do you then realize that Mike McCarthy, despite how he's done in the regular season, despite how he's gone ahead and helped Dak make strides in his career as a quarterback, as a player, do you just chalk it up to saying we had 3 seasons and we've fallen short? He's a great regular season coach, but he's not going to be the coach that takes us to the promised land. And do you move on?
I just don't extend him early. I just let him go into his last year of the deal. I see what coaches we might have available. Like, I'll just play the field. If he's the best coach that we have and there's nobody else out there better than him, then we have to extend him. Now, I might not give him a 7-year extension. I might give him a quick 3 to 4, you know. But I'm not giving him a big-time extension because Mike McCarthy got to show that he can win. He don't have to win a Super Bowl because Super Bowls are hard. You at least got to go to the NFC Championship game and compete with a great roster. He had a great roster in Green Bay, but he didn't get it done. And Mike McCarthy actually can change how everybody looks at him. He can change the narrative because if he goes to the NFC Championship or goes to the Super Bowl with Dallas, he changed the way Dak plays. And let's just say Dallas won a Super Bowl. Now people won't look at him like it was his fault in Green Bay. They might look at it as like, yo, it might be A-Rod. So he can change the whole narrative if he goes and changes Dak's whole. Could he change Dak's whole little narrative this year, the way Dak been playing?
Does Dak get an extension?
100%. I always felt like Dak,
regardless of how he does.
Regardless of how he does. Dak is a good quarterback. He's an elite quarterback in this league. You're not going to find too many quarterbacks that's better than Dak Prescott. So now that you find a guy that can get the best out of Dak Prescott, I almost want to say you have to keep them together, but nah, you got to keep Dak in place. Mike McCarthy, if you can get John Harbaugh, it's only 2 or 3 guys that might be better than Mike McCarthy. John Harbaugh, I always will say a Mike Tomlin, a guy like that. I'm not big on a Bill Belichick coming in and, you know, being too harsh with Dak and his personality. So it's only 2 head coaches out there that might go instead of a Mike McCarthy, but Dak for sure I'm extending.
Well, listen, we shall see what happens to the Dallas Cowboys. Christmas Eve, they face the Miami Dolphins. I will be in that. I will be in the building for that, bringing positive energy to my boys. I know my mom's like, you guys are going to a football game on Christmas Eve? We sure are. My Italian mother's like, the audacity, not on the Feast of 7 Fishes. How dare you? I will see you when it's over, Mom. But listen, you might want to grab a friend and grab another friend, tell your friend, whatever, because we got another topic coming up. And it's not the Eagles. It's not the Jets. It's not, what other teams? The Broncos. It's the 49ers, guys. We're going to talk some 49ers football. Here we go. You guys asked for some new teams. Ask and you shall receive. Here we go. So I think that most people would say that the team to beat in the NFL this season comes out of the Bay Area, the Yay area, as they like to say. Now, the Niners aren't just beating teams. They're actually destroying them, dismantling them, embarrassing them. They have won 6 straight games, which included blowout wins over Philly, Jacksonville, and twice against Seattle. But believe it or not, Debo believes that this team can actually be better. Listen to this.
You know, as we continue to stack these days, stack these games, stack these wins, we still not playing to our best potential and still leaving stuff out there on the field. And that's things that neither you know or people out there know. It's just like within the building, like things that we know we have to work on for. It's like just little things of one block here with Spring Christian free probably like 3-4 more times, or a block here would have got Brock a little bit more time in the pocket to throw another ball. It's just like little things like that.
Well, listen, earlier this week, Beefler, we had your boy on the show, Travis Daniels, and he said the biggest threat to the Niners is, well, the Niners. So, I mean, can you see anybody beating this team currently?
It's tough because they've been so dominant where you feel like when they get into the playoffs, they've been there before. There's not a team that don't have like that pedigree of not being in the playoffs. Like they've been an NFC contender for maybe the last 5 years, right? So they have the experience. But the thing is, it's not NBA basketball. It's only 1 week. If you're off that one game, you're going home. So when it goes to if any team can compete with them on that one day, I go and I evaluate different teams that's in the NFC. And with their roster, let's just say the Cowboys play their best game. Can they beat the 49ers? Yes, I feel. If the Lions play their best game, can they beat the 49ers? Yes. The Eagles? Yes. And also the Rams.
The Lions?
I love the Lions. I've been talking about the Lions all year.
No. I'm not doubting that the Lions are definitely a team to look out for depending on the matchup, but I just feel like the 49ers would drag them.
The
Even
49ers,
on the 49ers, like, not best day when they're not on their P's and Q's, I just don't think the Lions have.
when the Lions come out and they play complimentary football. When they running the ball, when Jamar Gibbs catching the ball out the backfield, they running the ball, Goff isn't turning the ball over, their defense is creating turnovers, Hutchinson getting sacks. Like, the Lions are a pretty decent football team.
No, they're decent, but I'm saying, like, even playing their best game isn't even a fraction of, let's say, the 49ers come out and give you 80%. I feel like that 80% would still wash the best game of the Lions.
But this is the thing. What we have seen lately when we go to analyzing these teams, just 5 weeks ago, it's like, yo, the 49ers not who we thought they were. We thought they were the best team in the league, but
it was a little bit of a
they got
jump.
to come back to
It was a little bit of a hot
reality.
take. It was still very early in the season. They did look a little bit concerning, but people also forget there was injury that plagued the team.
It was injury that plagued the team.
Those 3 games. So, like, yeah, it was like a fun talking point, but when you actually, like, looked at it and you looked at, like, the logistics and the specifics, yes, you probably didn't expect them to lose. You probably still expected them to be able to overcome the deficit, but there was injury, and Deebo Samuel is a huge part of this 49ers team, the 49ers offense. So, again, for me, health permitted, this is the team to beat. And it was the Eagles at one point. Some may have said, it was the Cowboys in that little window of time.
Still is. I can't wait. I really want the Cowboys to play the 49ers.
I just feel like, listen, I think the best team to go against the 49ers playing their best game, I feel like if you have both teams playing their best games, the 49ers and the Cowboys, that can go either way. I feel like other teams, even at their best game, can't compete.
You don't think the Eagles at their best game can compete? I give the Eagles a better chance than the Cowboys.
I don't believe in the Eagles. And I told y'all this weeks ago, beginning of the season. I don't believe in how their season has progressed. I don't believe in the holes in the gray areas in their offense. I just don't believe in the Eagles. I think that they're a good football team that has figured out a way to win games in spite of their shortcomings. And now you're seeing exactly what makes the Eagles weak in 4K. I just don't think that this Eagles team is as good as the Eagles team last season.
They are looking funny in the light. But they have the roster that can get it done. They got the players that can get it done, and they got a quarterback.
You got to be able to make that work, though, on the field. It's just not working right now.
Even though Jalen been turning the ball over, all he has to do is not turn it over this one particular game
That's a
against
big
the 49ers.
ask.
But Jalen has that savvy about him, and he has that maturity about him where he feels like, I know what's at stake. I know what I can't
true.
do.
I'll give you that.
Some players don't have that. Like, Jalen has that. And he also has that ick factor, like, I don't care what it takes. I break 2 defenders, and I scramble. And when Jalen get in his mode, it's like, yo, you can't stop Jalen. Dak, on the other hand, I always said this. If the game is going perfectly, he won't be stopped. He'll win a game against anybody. But
I agree.
If it takes that, he needs that ick factor sometimes. It's like, yo, pull something out of nothing now. You got to go 89 yards.
I'm not gonna give you that.
You got to go 89 yards and get a
it.
touchdown.
I've seen it happen.
In the big game.
I've seen it happen.
I can't wait for these playoffs.
I've seen it happen.
I can't wait.
Listen.
We almost here.
Listen, that's true. We are almost here. We shall see. Listen, I want to go ahead and remind everybody of our holiday schedule. YouTube shows on the 26th and the 27th. So that is Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday, we were audio only. Monday, we were audio only, but Monday is Christmas, so we won't be here. And we'll also be off on New Year's Day. But like I said, Sirius Radio Tuesday through Thursday next week. and visual shows rather, YouTube shows on the 26th and the 27th, which is a Tuesday and a Wednesday. So that's not changing. Let's talk some basketball, guys. Woo, 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 woo. We had an absolutely insane doubleheader yesterday and just a great 4, 5, 6 hours of basketball. And I absolutely loved it. The big storyline coming out of the games yesterday probably was Ja Morant, his return from his 25-game suspension for conduct detrimental to the league. Now, a lot of people were questioning, I don't know how or why they were questioning this, if he would be experiencing somewhat of a fall off from where he was prior to the suspension to where he is, now that he's returning. But Ja Morant heard the slander and said, "Nah, I'm cool. I got this. I'm still him." And he sure is still him. Absolutely looked like he did not miss a beat. I don't know why anybody thought he would be rusty. I don't know why anybody thought he would have fallen off. I don't get it. We had the buzzer beater, Ja Morant right here. Last shot, clutch shot. Leading the Grizzlies back from a 25-point deficit. And like I said, making the game-winning shot at the buzzer. Here's Desmond Bane and Ja Morant after the game talking about that final play.
Ja came up to me and asked me, he was like, "Do you want to run a post up for Jaren?" And I was like, "No. Like, we about to get you the ball."
He told me, "No, you getting the ball." So so at that point, it's just, I pretty much just had to, lock in and go deliver. And I did, so that's good.
All right, listen, Ja back, happy, healthy. Listen, he did say after the game, running through the tunnel that he kept the receipts. I'm not quite sure what he was referring to. I don't know if he was referring to, being left off, top 25 players in the list. ESPN, I think, put that list out. I don't know if he was referring to, people saying that there might be rust coming from his game or that he might fall off a little bit before getting back into things. Or I don't know if he was referring to people giving their opinions on the situation which got him suspended in the first place. I hope it's not the latter because I don't think the two are related. Mm-hmm. I think that, the criticism, the disappointment, the opinions regarding Ja's off-the-court activities were warranted. I think that, I think in general, you want people who are in certain positions to, hold their responsibilities to a certain standard and treat them and nourish them and protect them and just use them wisely. And I think it's even more so when you know how talented somebody is. One of my favorite sayings is there's nothing worse than wasted potential. And I think with Ja Morant, because he's so special, because he's such a talent, it was frustrating for many basketball. And again, there were people who were just using it as an opportunity to pile onto him and pile onto stereotypes and things like that. But I think that there were also people, myself included, who just see so much greatness in him and didn't want him to squander it away for stupidity. So I hope that those weren't the receipts that he was referring to, because I think that that criticism was warranted. Mm-hmm. And I think that there were people who were coming from a good place in their criticism. And it wasn't like, "Oh, look, I told you, this is who he always been." It was more of like, "Ja, you're special, be special," and leave the rest of that alone. So hopefully that's not what he was referring to. But yeah, I mean, hell of a talent, came back and put on a show. You couldn't have written a better script. I mean, do you think the Grizzlies can rely on Ja moving forward?
I think they can rely on him. I think he learned his lesson. He's young. Mm-hmm. Like, we forget sometimes how young these athletes are, and we be so quick to force them into the role model role. Yes, you're going to have some mature athletes that come in like a LeBron, a Carmelo, that do things the right way, right? And stay out of the negative eye publicly. But it's just some guys that they make mistakes, and they go learn from them. And his dad is in his life, and I hope that they had that talk where it's like, yo, we can't go through another one of these. The receipts I felt like he was talking about was, some people were saying they need to get rid of Ja. Like, they need to go ahead and get rid of him, get rid of the distraction, let him go somewhere else. Like, let him, when he come back, start off somewhere else. And then the Grizzlies with that young team try to build, because you can get a lot of things back, draft capital or players for Ja. So when he came back, And the way he stunted on that court was like, nah, this my team. Like, I kept all them receipts for the people that was saying that I should be out of here. I shouldn't be part of this franchise. Like, nah, I am this franchise. And I'm going to show y'all I'm going to put this city on my back and do what I do. I knew he wasn't going to come back rusty because he's not a guy that's like a Clay who's a shooter, and hopefully he can get in his rhythm. He's a guy that's explosive. He go get to the rim. He go get what he needs to on the court and get his baskets. Like, nobody can stop him from getting what he need to get on the court. And that type of guy, that type of explosiveness that he carry, it won't be stopped, especially when you got fresh legs when you come back. In-game tournaments been played. These guys are wearing down. Some of them start to load manage. They're starting to feel their body a little bit. So Ja actually had the edge when he came back. So I can't wait to see what he can do with this Grizzlies team and where he can lead them to going into, this second part of the season.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, it was really, like I said, you couldn't have written a better script for Ja Morant's return. And, I'm a huge Ja Morant fan. I see so much, I've made no secret one of my favorite players of all time is Allen Iverson. He's one of the reasons I fell in love with the game of basketball, him and Kobe Bryant. And I see so much of AI in Ja, which is why the situation off the court was so frustrating because you know the greatness that he has in him and you know what he can be in this league. And also, he has such a fan base. I don't think people realize, like, his fan base is people my age, and then also, like, kids love him. Like, they're Ja Morant fans. Yeah,
when he's on the screen, you tune in.
I'm really excited to see him back on the court. Basketball is better when Ja Morant is playing. And I feel like also, we speak about this all the time. I don't think anybody is unworthy of redemption. I don't think anybody's unworthy of a second chance. And I know some people will say, well, he had a second chance. Sometimes it takes you 2, 3, 4, 5 chances, to get it right. And I don't think any of us are perfect. And I don't think any of us live perfect lives. We all make mistakes. And, there's a difference between getting the opportunity to make your mistakes in private and then being on a platform in any shape or form that's public. And those mistakes are, just put under a different microscope and attacked and talked about in a way that regular people couldn't possibly understand. So I hope that the criticism that was constructive, and I'm not talking about the criticism, people were attacking his family and saying, it's his dad's fault. And it was disgusting. It was vile. That criticism was just people who were waiting for a moment to attack him. But I hope that the criticism that came from a place of admiration and respect and love and just fandom, I hope that, he didn't take that as people piling on, but he took that as these people really want to see me succeed.
He has a chance to be the face of the league.
This criticism, I'm going to take and apply to being better, not just for myself, not just for my family, not just for my fans, but for the sport that I love so much. So hopefully, he knows where that line is. And I know sometimes it's a little hard to, differentiate, the people who are critiquing you because they care.
Especially
and the
when you're going through it.
When you're going through it. So hopefully, he doesn't harbor any animosity towards those people. Because I know that, sometimes players don't like to be critiqued. But sometimes it does come from a good place. And like I said, Ja, we are so happy to have you back. Basketball is better when you are in it. You balled out. Do you think he can work his way into the MVP conversation?
100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy. It's
100%.
Easy. It's early. It's December. Yeah.
Especially when you're a superstar and everyone, like you said, everybody loves him. The way he plays the game, how the
Most
crowd,
people love him. Some people are just haters. You know how that works.
The way the crowd, just the energy, just the electricity is around him, whether he's playing home or away, like that counts into MVP voting, right? Everybody wants to see him play on TV, so he definitely will have the chance. And the hole that the Grizzlies are in,
7-19.
If he can somehow
turn
get
the season
them,
around.
turn it around.
Do you think he can turn the season around?
No.
You think they're too far deep?
They're too deep in the hole right now.
It is the Western Conference. It's a hard conference to be deep in the hole in.
If you look at it, you're looking at the Suns, who are very talented, and they're still at number 10. The Warriors, who are veterans and won titles, they're number 11. it's some teams you go have to surpass to get where you need to get. And those teams have dogs. They have alphas. They have guys who's played in the big game, played in the NBA championship. So they're not going to lay down. The Western Conference is too deep, too hard for them to dig out of that hole. But I think he still can get an MVP award, even if he makes it close to if they're a game or two away to making a play-in tournament, if he's explosive the way he was last night.
Well, listen, Grizzlies basketball just got a lot more exciting because 12 is back. So like he says, you better call 12. And it's going to be, I believe, if I had to go ahead, I'm not a bettor, but if I did, I feel like the attendance at Grizzlies games just skyrocketed back up to where it was before Ja Morant left. We're going to talk about another player who just balled out last night, and that's Wardell Curry, a.k.a. Steph Curry. Now, the Boston Celtics and the Golden State Warriors faced off in the Chase Center last night. And as we know, the Warriors came in a little bit of a deficit, missing Draymond Green, who is away indefinitely for, his last technical foul ejection situation on Phoenix Suns player Nurkic with the slap, that was heard worldwide, if you will. And they also were without another defensive player who they lost earlier in the game. Now, the Celtics came in pretty much fully stacked. They were missing Porzingis, but they had every other starter and every other bench player available. They also had a double-digit lead going into the third quarter and even midway through the third quarter, after the third quarter. But that didn't stop Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors from doing Golden State Warrior things and forced the game into overtime where Steph Curry hit the dagger shot. Watch this play, guys. So Steph Curry spins into the paint, misses. The rebound goes out. Chris Paul gets it, brings it back to Steph, who chucks it up and goes, bam! Night, night, Boston. I mean, absolutely incredible. Can we run this play one more time? Just as a basketball fan, this is I absolutely loved watching this in real time. So here we go again. Steph has the shot, spins it in the paint right there. Well, doesn't get it. Rebound passed out to Chris Paul. Chris Paul hits it to Steph. Easy, effortless. Just, insane. After the game, everybody was just in disarray over this, as you can expect. Absolutely just an incredible performance from Golden State. Also an impressive performance from Golden State because, like I said, 80% of Boston's team was available. You lose two defensive players, one in Draymond Green, and I believe the other defensive player was Kuminga, I believe, that they lost. Somebody double check that for me. I want to make sure I got that right. I believe it was Kuminga. And, then you go ahead and you also have question marks with Klay Thompson, that, sometimes he doesn't look quite like himself. He's still trying to find his footing, his groove this season. I feel like, although he's had a few really good games so far, they still came in at a deficit. Their season has been very up and down. Boston has been dominant all season so far. This is a team that, listen, this was a great game, but I had the Boston Celtics going to the NBA Finals. That was my pick early in the season. I'm standing by that pick. I just think when it comes down to it, they are a well-oiled machine, and they will always figure out a way to get it done. I had them over the Milwaukee Bucks. People said I was crazy. Boston's my pick. But after the game, there was also an interesting topic on Inside the NBA where Shaq said, listen, it may be time to put Steph Curry in the conversation with the greats. Listen to this.
I'm wondering, not saying, I'm just wondering, because he's been consistently the best shooter his whole career. I'm wondering, is it time to start putting him as the best player of all time?
Best player? Over, you put him over you?
In the conversation.
I'm asking you.
Yes.
You put him over you. You yourself put Steph Curry over you.
Yeah, this is why he's my favorite player.
I'm not saying favorite. He might be my favorite too, but I'm just asking you, think he's better than you?
I played 20 years, watched 20 years before that. I've never seen a guy like him. And he's doing it consistently, and he has championships.
You put him over Michael?
No, I'm not putting him anywhere. I'm saying,
okay,
for all the chitter chatter, is it time to just put him in the conversation?
I think he's a.
I'm asking the fans, is it time to start putting him in the conversation as one of the best players ever?
So the conversation then continued, and Kenny actually said something that blew me. He said that there are only 3 best players of all time, and then everybody else after that is a reach. And him, it was Michael, LeBron, and Kareem. For me, I don't agree with that. I think that it's not a reach to include Wilt. It's not a reach to include Larry Bird. It's not a reach to include Shaq. It's not a reach to include Kobe Bryant. It's just not a reach to include Hakeem. I mean, I can understand maybe the top 3 being solidified, but we're talking about the best players of all time.
Yeah, reach is a
that
word
list
that
is
make
longer
it seem
than
like,
that list is way longer than 3 players. It's way longer. Maybe 10, maybe 15, depending on, if you want to be generous. But we're talking 10 players. If we're talking 15 players, it's not a reach with other guys. Like, it blew me as somebody who's a huge
someone put Bill Russell in it.
As someone who's a huge Kobe Bryant fan, I was just like, y'all.
He's so
really,
underrated. Kobe's so underrated.
I hate the disrespect that Kobe
so underrated.
gets. Like, I mean, where do you feel about, Shaq and having Steph in the GOAT conversation?
No, he's spot on because everybody go off championships, right? Steph has 4, if I'm not mistaken, 4 rings, right? And everybody says you have to catch Jordan to at least be in a GOAT conversation, which some agree, some don't. But Jordan, if not LeBron, is everybody GOAT, right? And if you compare, he has more rings than LeBron right now. Steph has more rings than LeBron. And they always say, hey, when they get to the finals, LeBron is a different beast. He's a different animal. He goes in. LeBron averages 28 points, 28.4 points in the finals. Steph is at 27.3. He's right behind him. And some can say LeBron probably averaged more because he had to do everything himself in a lot of those finals games. Steph can distribute the ball to so many people and he still get his. So he's right there when it comes to playing in the big game, right?
And he plays a different game than LeBron.
He plays a
LeBron's
different
game
game.
is so dominant that I think that he affects so many different aspects of the game. So it's easier maybe to put that on a pedestal and highlight that. Where Steph's game, not saying it's one-dimensional, but his game really is rooted in like 2 particular aspects.
That's what I was going to say. The most underestimated aspect of Steph's game is getting to the basket. Like when he want to get to the cup, he can. He got one of the best handles in the league. If he want to get to the cup, he can. He just is an assassin behind the 3-point line. He know what his strength is. But if you want to get to the basket, he can do so. And he's so underrated at getting to the basket. So I think he has an all-around offensive game. But when you go best ever, the reason I feel like he has to get 6, because Jordan averaged 33 in the finals. That's a whole different beast, right? And that's why a lot of them have Jordan ahead of LeBron. He has more rings. He averaged more points in the finals. Like, he just turned into a man amongst boys. So for Steph to be the GOAT, he definitely would have to at least get 6 rings. Even if his finals numbers isn't there, I don't think
he's the GOAT, and I don't think he can be the GOAT only because his game is not as all around impactful as the guys that we're talking about, right? But I do think he belongs in the GOAT conversation, meaning when we talk about top 10, top 15 players of all time, I feel like Steph's career, he's solidified. And everyone's list there'll be differences in people's lists, like by maybe a couple spots or whatever. I don't feel like putting Steph in the GOAT conversation. In the GOAT conversation, for me, top 10, top 15 of all time. Those are GOATs.
Okay.
Those to me are GOATs.
But where do you have Steph on your list?
I would have to do the list.
Because of his stature, he can't impact the game but so much. Like, he can't be that great of a defensive player. But you also got to look at, he's the greatest shooter we've ever seen. Like, that holds weight. That holds weight. So if you're the greatest shooter we have ever seen, and also you're a multiple-time champion, how are you not in the conversation? Now, that doesn't mean you're top 5, but if we're talking top 10, top 15, I feel like if he's not already there, when it's all said and done, he might crack in. He should crack into that. I just feel like, how do you not have the greatest shooter of all time in the top 15? That in itself is the GOAT in his specific criteria, in his specific genre. There's never been a better shooter than Wardell Curry. And he's the best of the best. How is that not? And he was still the best player on the team with the best record ever in the NBA with 73 wins
Right.
and 9 losses. Like,
Right.
he has accolades that are there, and his stats might not be as better as good as Jordan's, because even though Jordan had a team, Jordan
Right.
was like, yo, this is going through me. Steph plays through
Right.
his team. So his stats might be even a little jaded, but when you just, the eye test.
But also, and BC, you know, shout out to one of our producers, BC, just hit me with this. Like, he's also done all of this in the LeBron era.
Exactly.
So you can't ignore that. He's won multiple championships in the LeBron era. Has been MVP in the LeBron era. Got the record for the greatest shooter of all time in the LeBron era.
You can make the
How does that
argument-
not put him in the GOAT conversation?
you can make the argument is he's the one who stopped LeBron from being the GOAT.
He did because
it
of that
was
series
because of
against
Steph
Cleveland.
Curry that
Right.
LeBron doesn't have all these rings.
Right.
So I like it, Shaq.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I get it. Like, I think that when you talk about top 5, top 3, top 5, I feel like that list is kind of solidified. Everyone's ranking may be different. Like, you may have LeBron 1, Jordan 2. Like, everyone's list in that aspect will be different, but I feel like the names are the same. And then, you know, then when you are going into top 10, top 15, that's where there's a little bit more arguments. I feel like, to a degree, because I still feel like most people have the same names in that situation as well. So I say all that to say, I get it. You may not have Steph in your top 3, but if we're talking best players of all time, if we're talking the GOAT conversation, and for me, there's been hundreds of players who've come in and out of the NBA. GOAT conversation is top 15, is top 10.
I don't feel like it can be top 15, though. Greatest of all time
Top
can't
15.
be 15 people that you can choose from.
Over the course of
GOAT
70 years?
only could be maybe 5.
No,
max.
GOAT conversation.
Max.
You got to think about it. The NBA's been around for what, 70 years?
Yes.
So think of 15 over 70 years is like a fraction of a percentage.
That's why it's called the GOAT.
But that's my point. Top 15 over a 70-year plus reign.
I don't think it's 10 players that you can put in the, like, I wouldn't put Larry Bird in the GOAT category.
You want to put Larry Bird in the
No,
GOAT
the greatest of all time?
Oh, you are bugging.
I would not put Bird in that category.
Larry Bird?
No
Oh,
way.
you're crazy.
Greatest of all time. He's a great player.
He's
a
one of the
top
greatest
10
players of all time.
He's a top 10 player, but you can't be one of, no.
Yes, GOAT.
He's one of the greatest players of all
GOAT
time. but when you say
conversation
GOAT,
is-
It's not one of. It's GOAT.
No. GOAT conversation. When we're talking GOAT conversation, just like the NBA 75 list were the greatest 75 players in the history of the league. That's an honor. Now, are they all like top 10, top 15? No, but these are the best of the, I mean, there were some question marks there, but these are the best of the best since the sport since the sport was the sport. Like, this is the best of the best. Top 15 is a different tier. And I absolutely believe that's the GOAT conversation. Now, when you're talking the GOAT, yes, there's only one, but we're talking the GOAT
But that's what
conversation.
Shaq was saying.
No, he's saying the GOAT conversation. He
So
belongs in that.
so I view what Shaq is saying differently than what you're saying.
No,
You're viewing it as like one of the GOATs.
he
in
was
the
no,
NBA.
he
I
was
look
saying
at-
that he should be considered one of the best players of all time, and that's the GOAT conversation.
See, I look at that as
when
the
you're the
top
best,
5.
one of the best players of all time.
And
You're
that's-
in the conversation,
And that's why they named only Jordan, Bron, and Kareem. That's it. So it was like only
Steph doesn't go ahead of Magic. He doesn't go ahead
he might.
He doesn't go ahead of Kareem. He doesn't go
might.
ahead of Jordan. He doesn't go ahead of those guys. There's only one GOAT.
He's in that.
And then there's a conversation for the rest of them.
He's in that Kareem, Jordan, Bron, maybe for me, but he's in that category.
So you're talking top 5.
Top 5 for sure.
That's a big statement.
For sure.
Top 5?
Top 5.
You know
for
how many
sure.
players you're putting him above of when you're talking about top 5?
Yeah, that's why I put him there. 'Cause he deserve it. Like, he been doing his thing. It's nothing that he hasn't done that.
So who's your top 5? Because that's a little.
Jordan, Bron for sure. Kareem for sure. I'm a big Kobe fan.
I'm a big Kobe fan too.
It's like, how can you leave Kobe out when he has 5 rings and the way he dominated the game offensively and defensively, right? He's not a popular top 5, but he's in my top 5.
I was gonna say
but
Cooper. That's my dog's name. Kobe, which was also my dog's name, is in my top 5.
But Steph is in that. Steph is in that with me. I'm a little biased to older NBA players like the Wilt Chamberlain, because I just feel like Wilt was taller than everybody.
I just can't put. I personally, and I'm a Steph Curry fan. Like, I love his game. Right now, currently, he's my favorite player in the NBA. Probably him and KD are like my top 2. I put Devin Booker up there also if I had to do like a top 5. But Steph's my guy. I'm not putting him in the top 5. When we talk top 10, sure.
What does he have
top
to do?
Top 15, for sure. But there's way too many players who have deeper all-around impacts on the game for me to put Steph above them.
But what does he have to do? He had the most wins in a season. He's the best shooter we ever had.
But remember,
he's won 4 rings, and he's still going to win.
Remember, why did we say that he's not above LeBron? LeBron's an all-around player.
But he can't be.
I'm not knocking.
He's doing everything that he can do.
I'm not knocking him for that, but that also knocks him out of being considered top 5 for me because his game only really.
I think that's what makes him more
game
special.
Is only there's pockets of what he does. He's phenomenal at, like the best maybe we've ever seen. But I can't put him against somebody like a Jordan who affected so many different aspects of the game. I can't put him above a LeBron who affects so many different, like that would be crazy for me to do.
LeBron is a man. Only thing Steph can't do is defend and rebound because of his stature. Anything else, he can do well.
Those are parts of the game, though.
But it's just his stature. That's his God.
It's necessary.
All right.
I mean, you have to. I hear what you're saying. It's not his fault. Like he was born a certain height, a certain build. But it also takes him out of contention when we're talking about the best. Like, I like this list. Shout out to Xavier. He said MJ, LeBron, Kareem, Bird, and Kobe. I don't know if I'd put Bird in there, top 5. I'd probably put Magic in there over Bird.
Yeah.
My list would probably be MJ, LeBron, Kareem, Magic, and Kobe would be my top 5, probably. And then Steph would be right outside of that. I have Steph outside of that.
Respectable.
Yeah, I would have Steph top 10, top 5. I feel like top 5 for me at least. It's solidified. I don't know. I'm not knocking the. Listen, Bill Russell had more rings than Steph. You putting him ahead of him?
No.
Okay, well.
I told you I'm a little older players that hate me.
Oh, but you know what? Shaq might be top 5 too.
Shaq was dominant, but I wouldn't put him in my top 5.
Yeah, maybe like right outside it. Maybe like 6.
Yeah.
Listen, good conversation. I feel like this is a conversation that will forever go down as just a never-ending conversation that we do. It can go so many different ways. Listen, before we get to our Pepsi Rookie of the Week segment, we're still waiting for our guests, so we're going to skip ahead and talk some football in the meantime. And listen, Pickens. We're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers, that is. An interesting story coming out of the mess that is the Pittsburgh Steelers. George Pickens was caught not blocking Jaylen Warren, not blocking on a Jaylen Warren run during their loss to the Colts. Now, Pickens was asked about it, and he said he didn't block because he was trying to avoid injury. He referenced Tank Dell, the Texans' rookie phenom, who broke his leg getting rolled on while trying to block. Brandon, I mean, the honesty is there. But how do you feel about a player openly admitting to not doing their assignment because they did not want to get hurt?
See, players too honest. Like, you don't have to tell the truth to the media. Like, you give them what they want. Like, yo, I missed the block. Yeah, I should have got it. I'm going to get it next time. I should have blocked for my running back. Like, that's all you got to say. But I agree with him 100%.
Really?
It's a business decision. He just seen another receiver get rolled up on. First off, receivers don't block like that anyway. Maybe a Hives Ward, Jarvis Landry, maybe sometime a Dez Bryant, but that's not what they do. That's not their forte. If you look at his build, you wouldn't even expect him to block. So don't think he's going to be hunkering down on every run play trying to get blocks, or maybe he might try to get a key block like in a pivotal point in the game.
What Deion Sanders say? I made a business decision.
A business decision. Because if he get rolled up on, he knows he can come back. His knee might not be the same. His ankle might not be the same. And because he was trying to do that little thing that doesn't even matter for real for a receiver to do, at the end of the day, he can lose a lot of money. At the end of the day, I know you want to win championships, but at the end of the day, you want to get paid too for what you do.
No, I hear that.
field.
And maybe to your point, this is not something that you should have openly come out and say, because now you put the team in a weird position. You put Mike Tomlin, I feel like, in a weird position, because now you're going to have guys in the locker room looking at him like you just had a player openly admit to blowing his assignment for the betterment of himself and not the betterment of the team. What are you going to do about it? Like,
if I'm in that locker room, I ain't tripping. You shouldn't.
Well,
just
maybe
say
you're not tripping, but there are because let's playing devil's advocate here, because again, I'm not knocking someone for doing what's best for them, but playing devil's advocate, right? Did the Steelers win that game?
Nope.
Okay. So let's go ahead and say, I'm not saying that this was the reason, but let's say that him not wanting to get rolled on was the reason they lost this game. That you not covering your assignment is the reason we lost this game. You openly come out and say you didn't do it because you didn't want to get hurt, and that was the play that changed the course of the game. You're okay with that?
No, if it's the play that wins or loses the game, like, you got to put it on the line for your team. Just that one play. But I don't feel like that.
I'm not saying that it is. What I'm
You know
saying is,
yeah, if it's crunch time, it's like,
but
we need this.
where does the line of doing what's best for you and not doing what's best for you because you play a team sport? Where is that line? Because
when it's crunch time, because I remember.
But what if it wasn't crunch time? What if this just was a play that it was in the fourth quarter, but it wasn't, in the clutch, but it's still, or crunch rather, but it still impacted the game in a way. Like, what I'm saying is, like, that's your job. Yeah, and I get it. And again, this is me playing devil's advocate,
no,
right?
I get it.
I understand having to protect your longevity, protect your career, protect, your paycheck, your family's security. Or I get at all of that, and I'm not mad at it. But you also play a team sport. You also play a violent team sport. Injury is part of the game. And if every single player avoided doing something because there was a possibility that they were going to get injured, nobody would do anything on the field. Like, it's part of the game. It happens.
But it's a violent sport, but receivers aren't violent. If it's a third down, if it's a key point in the game where it's like, yo, we actually need this and you did that, yeah, I'm looking at you funny. But if it's a routine play and you don't decide to do it, it's cool. I remember playing Derrick Henry his rookie year. We played the Tennessee Titans. We didn't know how big he was. He lined up in the backfield. Literally everybody in the secondary looked at each other and was like, yo, I'm not hitting him. Second play of the game, we got in the huddle. We told the linebackers, the corners told the linebackers and the safety, yo, y'all better run to the ball because he's too big for us to hit. If he get his speed, I'm letting y'all know now that I'm not hitting him. So cornerbacks, we feel like it's a business decision. I'm not hitting Derrick Henry with a head full of steam. But now, if it's crunch time, it's fourth down, it's goal line time, I throw my body in for the team. But so many people take business decisions on the field. I think, really, cornerbacks and receivers, for real. But because everybody else they got to go get that smoke. That's what they do. We don't want to get banged up.
Listen, in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to affect the Steelers. Their season's pretty much over.
Yeah, it's over with anyway.
So maybe that was the reason that he didn't do what he was told he had to do when the play was drawn up.
We told you, when you don't got no chance, you pack it up.
I just don't feel like you tell the media that.
Yeah, that's why would you?
Like, it just is not a good look, because it's almost like
you don't care.
It's almost like you don't care. And also it presents you as selfish. Like, I'm gonna do what I need to do for me. Like, I don't care how it affects the team. Like, I ain't gonna go out there and get somebody else to do it.
That's the concerning part. That you told the media you don't care how it's gonna look in the media, and now you are putting your head coach in a position where it's, yo, you got these selfish guys on the team.
Right. So now, that's why I said in the beginning, Mike Tomlin's now in a weird situation, because it's like, you put me in a weird position. Like, you put me in do I discipline this? Do I draw attention to this? Do I address this in the media? Like, I can't have guys on my team who openly admit and who are comfortable admitting that they blew an assignment because they did not want to risk the potential of an injury. And again, that's what it is, because at the end of the day, you don't know if you would have gotten injured. There's a possibility you would have, but there's also a possibility you get injured doing anything in football. Like, whether it's drawn up for you to be the guy making the play or not. Like, it's the sport, it's the nature of the beast. You cannot go ahead and do it and then tell everybody that you did it. Like, lie.
Yeah, just lie. He's
give me
young.
something.
He don't get it. He's young. He feel like he got to tell the truth about everything when he's getting interviewed. So that's just something you live.
Optimistic James said, B-Flow, you're capping because I saw you and Eric Berry play with a cast on your arm.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with hitting Derrick Henry, though. That's like a freight train running at you full speed. See, with me, with people I feel like I got a chance with, no, I'm about that. But it's just some people where you be like, I played against Jerome Bettis. Like
the bus.
I'm not hitting him. Marshawn Lynch with a full head of speed. Like, I'm not hitting him. Like, it's not happening. I'll show effort. Like, I'll brush across his legs and act like I tried. But, nah, it's not happening. I got to be able to play all season.
Somebody said, Ken Cook said, I'm sorry, not Ken Cook, Jamel Wickens Sr. said, he could be trying to force his way out. Do you think that's a possibility?
That's very smart. They show, that's smart of you to pick up on, I would say, because they showed him on the sideline.
Well, I didn't. Shout out to Jamel. I didn't think of it.
Jamel. But no, they showed him on the sideline a few times where he was like, yo, this is crazy. Like, he just looked like he's not into it because we all know receivers, they wired different. Like, look at B. Marshall. Like, you can tell they're wired different. They not getting the ball. They not getting the touches. Like, they check out. You seen B. Marshall punting the ball in practice because he wasn't happy. Like, they're not bad teammates. They're just wired different. If they're not getting what they want, then it's going to be a problem. And that's the tough thing about being a head coach in the NFL. It's not about calling timeouts. It's not about going for 2-point conversions. It's about managing all these personalities and trying to keep it like together. Even when things not going people way, like you got to some way, somehow keep everybody happy.
Well, listen, speaking of managing personalities, don't yell at me, guys. I didn't pick this topic, okay? Aaron Rodgers.
Let's go.
Will next season be Aaron Rodgers' last dance? Now, you can call A-Rod a lot of things, but you can't call him boring. Now, yesterday, despite all the speculation of if Aaron Rodgers would return, that speculation that was led front and center by Brandon Marshall, who obviously is not here, and I feel like a lot of delusional football fans, Rodgers said that he realistically is still 3 or 4 weeks away from being able to play, confirming what I've been saying all along, that he will not play this season. Okay? Can we put that to bed now? It's over and done with. That goes for you too. That goes for you too, because you were drinking Brandon's Kool-Aid like a couple of weeks ago, and I kept telling y'all he's not coming back to stop it.
It'd be great for football.
Listen, Aaron Rodgers, I appreciate your game, though. I see what you did. You may have manipulated a lot of people, but you didn't manipulate me, sir. I see you. But listen, when Aaron Rodgers was asked if next season will be his last, listen to this.
I don't think so. You know, I felt like when I came here that I got kind of a renewed passion and love for the game, and everything has been amazing here. Just the people I've gotten to work with, the relationships I've gotten to form with my teammates, and the amazing men and women that work here at One Just Drive has been really special. I wanted, at least 2 years. I feel like this year is kind of a lost year now that I only played a couple snaps and wasn't able to go out there and improve what I'm capable of and see what we're capable of as a team. I don't think that next year will be my last year. With some of the things that I've learned over the last year, taking care of my body and surrounding myself with some great people who've been helping me with my nutrition and my functional training at a more acute level. I feel like I can play more years and I can be effective into my 40s, which is crazy because I thought that I'd probably be sitting on the couch somewhere at 40, but now I want to be a starter at 40. I want to be a starter at 41. I want to see what I can get out of this body. I believe in the leadership that we have here. I believe in our guys. I think it's not a situation where we have to rebuild.
So, once again, I was proven right. They're not drafting a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers has no plans on retiring after next season. He thinks that he can play for a few more seasons. Despite Brandon thinking that he only got 1 or 2 more in him, he plans on playing a lot more than that. The Jets will not draft a quarterback. We can put that to bed. Honestly, we can put this whole conversation to bed because there really is no further question to be asked. The man said next season will not be his last season. There's nothing to speculate. Brandon, Marshall, if you're watching, you were wrong. I was right. Once again, I feel like that's it. I only honestly... there's nothing left to discuss here. Let's not talk about the Jets anymore. They're irrelevant. A-Rod's not coming back.
Let's be honest.
It's over.
If they had a chance to compete for the playoffs, he would have came back. He's just feeling like, yo, I ain't playing for nothing right now, so I'm not going to
He's not medically cleared. He said 3 to 4 weeks. Even if they were eligible for the playoffs, the man is not medically cleared. What is wrong with you people?
The thing is, you know what we have to get used to? Quarterbacks that's great, like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, playing into their 40s. The game is different now. Before, we wasn't going to see quarterbacks play this long because they used to get hit so hard, their bodies couldn't take it. Defenders can lay on top of you with all their weight, hit you after you threw the ball, and they're not throwing any flags. Now you can't touch the quarterback. It's all about if you have a decent offensive line and you're not just getting picked up off the ground every play.
That's what they need to be drafting, not a quarterback. Get yourself some offensive linemen so your quarterback's not out there running for his life.
If your quarterback can stand up right, he can play for however long he wants to play because it's not a position that's daunting on you physically. It's all mentally. Your arm strength is not really going to leave, right? That's one thing that won't leave. It's always your speed. Like your strength might leave a little bit, but quarterbacks like Rodgers, Brady, Mahomes, Burrow, all those guys, they'll be able to play for however long they can. So it might sound crazy that he said he want to play for a couple more years, but he can do it. I still think the Jets should draft a quarterback because if Rodgers do go out next year and he get injured, I think he'll call it. Because mentally, coming off 2 years in a row off injury, that's a lot for a player who's mentioned retiring 3 years ago.
Listen, Brian, if you guys are listening, I don't want to talk about this anymore.
I love it, Brian.
I do not want to discuss the Jets or Aaron Rodgers for the remaining of the football season. They are a non-factor. The man is not coming back. You heard it from his own mouth. The man is not going to retire. You heard it from his own mouth. There is nothing left to discuss. If I see Aaron Rodgers on the rundown as a topic for any other show from this point forward until the following football season, I am not showing up to work the next day. I'm fed up. I don't want to talk about this anymore. It's done. It's over. If y'all want to talk about it, you talk about it without me because I'm done.
I feel like we need to be updated with Aaron Rodgers, but
we don't need to be updated with Aaron Rodgers. We're done. There's nothing to update. The man's not coming back. He's not retiring. There's nothing. Exit stage left. 1, 2, 3 Cancun. Enjoy.
Can't wait to training camp when it start back up next year. That's all we're gonna be talking about.
I can't. Listen, we're gonna go ahead and go to a little segment we like to call Yo Rookie, presented by Pepsi Zero Sugar, NFL Rookie of the Week. All right. Listen, it is now time for Yo Rookie. So like I said, congratulations to Giant quarterback. I said this yesterday, Tommy DeVito, who was Rookie of the Week in Week 14. DeVito had 71 yards rushing and a touchdown pass to lead the Giants to a big upset over the Packers on Monday Night Football. So salute, Mr. DeVito. Let's take a look at the nominees for Week 15. Go ahead and throw it up there. Listen. All right. Listen, we got some new faces. We got some familiar faces. We have Las Vegas quarterback Aiden O'Connell, who threw for 248 yards with 4 touchdowns in the Raiders' Week 15 win. We have Detroit running back Jahmyr Gibbs had 108 scrimmage yards and 2 touchdowns. We have Minnesota wide receiver Jordan Addison caught 6 catches for 111 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. We have Kansas City wide receiver Rashee Rice recorded 9 catches for 91 yards and 1 touchdown in the Chiefs' win. We have out of Detroit tight end Sam Laporta, who recorded 5 catches for 56 yards and 3 touchdowns. And last but not least, they upset the Philadelphia Eagles and helped out my Dallas Cowboys. It's Seattle receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba. He snatched a game-winning touchdown in the final minute of Monday Night Football to stun the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we have ourselves a special guest joining us. It's one of the nominees for Rookie of the Week, and that is Chiefs star Rashee Rice. Thank you for joining us, Rashee. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I don't know. Can I hear him? BC,
Yes,
I can't hear him. What happened? Can we hear him?
We got you now.
We got you.
Okay. I'm good. How you doing?
How are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank y'all for having me.
Listen, you are up against some quality nominees for the award. So tell us why you should be Rookie of the Week.
Rookie of the Week, that's pretty, real cool to get. It's an honor just to be nominated, with those guys, high competitive guys, gonna be great athletes, for years to come. I feel like, we all put in the work. Whatever happens as far as getting this nominee is gonna happen. But we got a lot more season to play, so.
Okay. Let's talk about some football, right? Your quarterback, future Hall of Famer specifically. Give us a story on why he is great as he is. Why is he going to be a future Hall of Famer? You got any stories?
Stories? It's not even necessarily a story. It's just who he is, how he, approaches work and how he attacks, every day in the meetings and every day in practice. And also like how he brings his players along with him. And he's not just focused on himself, making sure he knows what he has to do. He leads all around the room in every position.
Listen, the Chiefs have been, going through a little bit of a roller coaster this season, but we say all the time, good football teams, great football teams find a way to win in spite of adversity. And even though there have been some games where it's been a little bit of a question mark with the Chiefs, you guys have always bounced back, figured out how to just keep it pushing. But what do you have to say to critics who are pointing fingers at the receivers outside of Travis Kelce?
Truthfully speaking, we, here at this facility, this team, we only focus on what's going on in here because we're the only people that's going to be on the field, competing, against the other team for each other and with each other. So we're not too much worried about what outside critics have to say. As long as, our room is tight, we got a brotherhood going on. So as long as we're holding each other accountable, holding each other up, then it's not much of, about what's going on outside. We're focused on what's going on here.
B-Flow, you know that mantra well as a former Kansas City Chief.
I love the culture there. I was there when Andy came his first year there. So he built a nice, just chemistry ride. Like the brotherhood you spoke of, like it was there when I was there, and it's never going to leave because he's running the show. And I like how you said you keep everything behind those walls and y'all don't talk about nothing else but what goes on there. But we're going to talk about the Miami Dolphins right now. They got a receiver named Tyreek Hill. It's been conversations about him being the NFL MVP. You play with a guy in the name of Patrick Mahomes. Do you think Tyreek Hill is like worthy of the MVP trophy?
I think that he's doing everything he can, to be nominated as MVP. Obviously, he's doing something right just to be nominated as an MVP or just to be talked about as that. He's doing a lot of great things that a lot of receivers haven't been able to accomplish in the season. So, that's great for him. But as far as, being a full, MVP all around, I just feel like, obviously I'm going to thank Pat right away just because there's a lot more to, being a quarterback than being a wide receiver.
But even though you're a receiver, you don't want to see a receiver get the award because it usually goes to the quarterbacks. They get it every year.
I mean, no, definitely, it'd be cool if I was winning the award, but I'm not you know what I'm saying? So I'm going for Pat all the way.
Listen, you grew up in Texas. You played college ball at SMU. I feel like when it comes to Texas, the Dallas Cowboys run the land. So were you a little disappointed? You have dreams of playing for the star, the star on your helmet, the blue and silver.
I wasn't, necessarily disappointed. It would have been great, to stay in Dallas, keep everything I had going on from college, transition to the NFL. But I just feel like everything happens for a reason. I know that I'm in a great position, as far as being a wide receiver. Every wide receiver in the NFL, regardless if they want to admit it or not, they would want to be here just to be able to play with Patrick Mahomes. So I wasn't, it would have been cool, but I think everything happened for a reason, and, I'm just taking advantage of this opportunity.
Do you think there's any truth to this narrative that I feel like has erupted specifically this season, that certain teams, certain players are covered unfairly in the media while other players and other teams just kind of skate by for doing the same thing or even for underachieving?
I would say, I feel
like the Chiefs are definitely in that conversation.
Yeah, but it's just, they're, champions from last year. So obviously we carry a lot more weight than a lot of other teams. And I just happened to hop in and, hurry up and get on the train, and I kind of have the weight on me, even though I haven't, won a championship with the team yet. But it's just like, like I said, we're not too much worried about all the extra stuff. Like, we're worried about this room and this team right now, and that's about it.
I feel you. It come with the territory, right?
Yeah,
she be feeling some type of way because Dallas that's her squad. They be on Dallas. I'm a Cowboys fan,
so yeah, whatever.
I like that. It come with the territory.
It come with it, yep.
But I got a question. You got a chip on your shoulder being that you the 7th receiver drafted, but arguably the best out of them all? Like, do you feel like I should have been going higher? So I'm going to have a chip on my shoulder, and I'm going to show y'all why I'm going to do my thing this year.
I've been having a chip on my shoulder, truthfully speaking, since high school. I was, a 3-star, so it made me work a lot harder because a lot of guys are 5 stars, and guys get offers, and so it's just like, I don't have the 5 stars, I can't get the big offer that I want, so I'm gonna go even harder. So went to a smaller college, they're blowing up, but went to a smaller college and just kept my head down and did what I had to do. And, it's like, it's a lot of politics in college, certain conferences and stuff like that, SEC. And, I'm an American conference at the time. So it's just like, all it did was make me, motivate me. And when we played against bigger schools, I kind of locked in and I was a whole different person. And that's the same thing now. I'm not worried about guys that, got drafted, before me. I'm just taking advantage of this opportunity because, like I said, like, I'm in a perfect position to do, great things with a great quarterback.
I love to hear the maturity from you because everything does happen for a reason. You went to a smaller school to develop that grind you're going to need to be in the NFL. Yeah. You didn't go to a certain team because you was meant to play with a future Hall of Famer, right? So you're exactly where you should be. So I love the way that you see why you're there.
I want to ask you this. I've been asking all the rookies this. What has been the biggest transition for you, most difficult transition and the easiest transition going from college and then going into the professional league?
I feel like the hardest transition for me coming from college and going to the NFL was just being able to convert certain routes when a defense, adjust and right before the snap they get into a certain defense that you were not you wasn't expecting for them to get into, and just being able to adjust on the fly while you're running a route, knowing that you still got to match up with the same timing as Pat. And then I feel like the easiest transition was just being able to like go out here and have fun. I'm with a quarterback that likes to have fun too, so it's just like whenever it's like if it's scramble drill, it's like we're playing football in the backyard and we're all just having fun. We got the ball in our hands. And even when we're just doing stuff correctly on the field, like it's just a lot more fun when you got guys next to you, with the same passion, the same motivation as you.
And I mean, speaking of a quarterback who likes to have fun, Patrick Mahomes, we're seeing, I feel like, a more competitive, a more vocal, a more emotional side of him. He's usually very calm, cool, collective. But is that no surprise to the guys in the locker room? Is he always been like this and we're just late to the party?
Yeah, I think y'all just late to the party. The reason Pat is who he is because he's so competitive. If Pat is one of the greatest quarterbacks to play this game because he will not let anybody beat him. And when he feels like something's not going right, or if he feels like he's not playing to his best of his ability, then if that's his emotion that he got to show, it's just showing the love for the game.
Yeah, I love to see him chirping at the refs. I was like, okay, Pat, say it with your chest, boy. That's what I've been looking for. Listen, before we let you go, I want you to fill in this sentence for me. We've been asking all the rookies the same sentence. So, my rookie year will be blank.
I would say my rookie year will be unforgettable. And the Kansas City Chiefs.
I like it.
Yep.
I'm not mad at it. Thank you so much for joining us, Rashee. Good luck the rest of the season. Have a healthy season. And we hope to see you in the Super Bowl.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
All right, big
Bye.
All right.
Listen, guys, we want to remind you, if you want to vote for any of the Week 15 nominees, make sure you head over to NFL.com/voting/rookies. That's NFL.com/voting/rookies. And this has been Yo Rookie, presented by Pepsi Zero Sugar, NFL Rookie of the Week. All right, we are back. Let's take these headphones out, which you guys don't realize this, but we put these headphones on so we can obviously hear the guests, but there's an echo. So
my gosh.
When we speak, we hear our sentence that you guys are hearing literally right back to us. It's the most annoying thing. I hate using the AirPods for this exact reason. It drives me crazy. I'm like talking and there's an echo. It's so annoying. I wish we could do them without them, truthfully.
I know.
It's the worst.
Now, I wish
it's the
people
worst.
can actually go through that process and try to see if they can do it. Right?
No, it's the worst. Yeah.
Because you talk, you hear yourself talk, you got to block out yourself talking. And
I absolutely love, and I mean, guys don't get this as much as women do in this industry, but I absolutely love when guys will comment me on Twitter or social media and they'll be like, I could do what you do. You're just a pretty face. This is why women show. I'm like, you guys couldn't even imagine.
Nah, it's real.
I'm doing 20 things during one show. So while you just think I'm sitting here just giving takes that you can disagree with and critique and rip apart, I'm doing 1,000,000,001 different things. I've been in situations where I've been doing live shows and my earpiece goes out and I can't hear a producer. I don't know where I am on the show in terms of how much time I have left for a guest. I'm out there literally at the free throw line with a blindfold on my head. So before you guys come at me on social media to disagree with a take, which is cool. Everyone has opinions. I'm not that sensitive. We're not all going to agree. We can agree to disagree. Sometimes you like my take. Sometimes you don't. Just make sure when you come for what I actually do, you realize that there's 24 things going on at once. And I highly doubt it's as easy as you're making it seem. So we're just going to go ahead and put it out there.
That's funny.
It's hilarious to me. I read those comments. I'm like, you guys have no idea. I've literally been in situations on live shows where my prompter goes out.
That's crazy.
And I'm just out there off memory trying to remember. It's insane. Don't come for me, okay?
It ain't for the week.
Don't come for me. Listen, we're going to go ahead and talk some football again. Here we go. We're going to go ahead and play a little game of Who Wants It More. So, Who Wants It More? That's not what the game is. We're going to play a little game of NFL Run or One and Done. Now, we're going to bring up some notable playoff contenders, and we will go ahead and make the decision on either if they're going to make a run in the playoffs or if they're destined for a one and done. So let's start with Buffalo. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills are playing well right now, but as we know, they're much of a roller coaster, and one day you can get one version of them, and the next you can get an absolutely different version. So, run or one and done?
Run. For sure. They got a chance to win this division. Like, they're going to go on a run at the end of this season, and they're going to get in the playoffs, whether it's going to be a wild card or they're going to win a division. It doesn't even matter where they land. They go make a run. Do you not trust Josh Allen? One of my favorite quarterbacks.
Bills. I just don't. I don't trust it.
What don't you trust about them, though?
What do you mean, what do I not trust about them? Look at them.
No, but since Joe Brady took over, they've been a whole new team.
Look at the evidence from the season. I don't trust them.
Since Joe Brady took over, they're a whole new Bills team. Can't think about the past. That's a different relationship they had with Dorsey. This is something new.
All right, let's go to the AFC real quick. We got Kansas City. We got the Ravens. Miami's going to be there.
That's a division game. They can beat them. Jaguars, Bengals, Browns. They can make a run.
Bengals, yeah.
Bengals pretty good. Like, Bengals solid. But the Bills can beat any of these teams.
I'm going one and done.
Oh, that's so different.
I'm going one and done.
That's so
I'm going one and done. I'm not a believer. I'm not a believer.
Let's go.
They can heat up, but I'm not a believer.
Let's go, Josh.
I may be wrong. I'm just not a believer. I'm not buying what they're selling. We're going to go ahead and move on to the Browns. Now, Joe Flacco, Joe Skinny, Joe Cool, whatever you want to call him, he is now QB1 for the Orange and Brown. And what do we think? One and done, or are they going to run in the AFC?
One and done. One and done. I like Joe Flacco, right?
I'm going run.
Do you say run just because they might play the Jaguars the first round and they'll get that win and maybe they'll get some momentum?
Sure.
But whoever they play after the Jaguars is like they're done.
That's not a one and done.
That's not a one and done, but
that's kind of a run.
That's
one and done's getting there and losing.
Yeah, you're right.
First round. I just feel like, listen, you have an MVP quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
It's somebody with a lot of experience under their belt. I don't think he's like, a fraction of what he was, but you can't buy history and you can't buy experience.
He's not going to be scared of the moment.
He's not going to be scared of the moment. He's going to keep his cool. I think the Browns have a good football team. They just haven't had a quarterback consistently being able to lead them. I just feel like maybe the stars will align. And again, I don't need Joe Flacco to go out there and be Ravens Joe Flacco. I just need him to be a fraction of that. Mm-hmm. And I think that the team will do the work outside of that. Again, this is a football team that I said when Deshaun Watson went down, I said it wasn't going to really matter because this is a team. And then again, this is not taking away from Deshaun Watson and his talent, but we're talking about a Cleveland Browns team that has survived the ever-changing quarterback from the start of the season.
Insane.
They literally know how to function without an actual quarterback. They've been doing it all year. So Joe Flacco doesn't have to go out there and be anything special.
He doesn't.
He just needs to be a game manager. We were talking about this. He just needs to be a game manager. The defense is legit. The offense is a system. I don't need you to be special. I just need you to be good. And I feel like they can run.
Low-key need to be coach of the year.
You think so?
Going through 4 quarterbacks, and they're not winning by like some fluke stuff. Like,
yeah.
They are actually winning games.
And
they're beating good teams like the 49ers.
Like, he's a good guy. It's a good coach, man.
He's making it happen.
Listen, I'm going to go run. So you going one and done?
With who?
You're going one and done with the Browns.
Yeah, after all that I just said,
you're going to run with the
done.
Bills.
Yeah.
And I have one and done with the Bills, and I have run with the Browns. So far, we're on opposite ends of the spectrum. Here we go. CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans. Now, the biggest surprise of the season obviously belongs to the Texans, I feel like. They were tied with the Jacksonville Jaguars atop of the AFC South. But CJ is likely to miss another game after being in concussion protocol. So, if Stroud is healthy and Houston gets into the dance, are we talking run or are we talking one and done?
One and done.
I agree.
He'll be a little rusty.
We agree finally. I agree.
He's going to be a little rusty. He's still a rookie. I think they'll shrink the playbook for him. So we're not going to see the Stroud that he was cooking with like mid-season form. They'll end up playing the Dolphins or somebody, or maybe Buffalo. Not Buffalo. They'll play the Dolphins or the Chiefs or somebody like that. And, yeah, he'll be bounced early.
All right.
For sure.
I agree with you. I think that, they've been playing definitely above expectations, fair to say. I personally did not think that they were even going to be a fraction of how good they've been so far. But I also think that when you get into the playoffs, it's a different game. It's a different beast. And what you've done in the regular season and all the magic that you had in the regular season is different. The lights are brighter. The game is harder. So I just feel like, the clock is ticking on the Cinderella season, the semi-Cinderella season, because they still have a losing record. The pumpkin, and the coach is turning back into a pumpkin soon.
Yeah.
It's about that time. The clock is ticking. All right. Make sure you answer correctly on the next one. You ready?
I know it's going to be a
How about them Cowboys who are likely to have their start for the playoff push on the road against the winner of the NFC South? Now, they haven't looked great on the road this season outside of a couple of games, the LA Rams and things like that. But Dallas, run or one and done?
They're going to be on a run regardless, because if they win a division, they playing at home. I don't think anybody beats Dallas at home. Not San Fran, not Philly. Like, nobody's beating Dallas at home. If they do get the wild card spot, they playing the winner of the NFC South, whether it's going to be the Bucks or the Saints. I don't care if you got to go to them teams. If you can't beat them on the road, who's been struggling all year, the Saints been inconsistent at quarterback, the Bucks, Baker can get hot, but you're a better team than the Bucks. Dallas should 1,000% make a run. It's a bye first week. It's all about now, once you get to the second round of the playoffs, who are you going to play? Would it be the Lions? Would it be the Eagles? That's when it's going to get good, and they can still beat those teams.
Listen.
So they should go on a run. If Dallas isn't in the NFC Championship, it's going to be a problem.
It's a run. And we running all the way to Vegas, baby. We going. It's our year. Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl.
Give the Cowboys fans an inch, Dave.
Super Bowl. Listen, I'm being I always say Super Bowl every single year. But just like I say World Series every single year for the Yankees. And look at how that turns out. God, the Yankees pissed me off. I know it's a baseball topic. My God, all that damn money, and we just were home before the season even started. Anyway, NFC Championship is in our future.
Yeah, 100%.
This is the year.
This is the year. I will say that. This is the year.
This is the year we get to the NFC Championship game. I feel it.
Oh, it's going to be live.
I feel it.
Get to go back to San Fran.
I feel it. San Fran.
All that talk.
Dallas.
That talk.
NFC Championship game. I feel it. I feel it. I see it. I manifest it. I believe it. I'm putting it out there. I see it.
Here we
BC,
go.
why are you laughing? You're gonna be eating chicken cutlets with Tommy DeVito in his mom's basement watching us. Don't worry about what's going on the winner's side. Out of here. Anyway.
Is it a disappointment if y'all don't make the championship game?
Hell yeah. You know the last
Even
time
if
we
y'all
made a
get to the
championship
division game and y'all playing, let's just say the Eagles and or the Lions, and they go down to the wire and you lose by a field goal.
Do you know how old I was when the last time we made an NFC Championship game?
Were you even born?
That's crazy. Rude. What the hell? I was definitely born. I was 3.
You were barely born.
I wasn't barely born. I was 3.
You literally you didn't have teeth at 3.
I didn't have teeth at 3. What was I, an animal? No, I had teeth. I was a baby.
You was 8 though. No, 3 is like
I was
barely
3.
born.
The year we won the Super Bowl, I was a month old. I was born in 93.
It's crazy.
So we did 92, 93. No, 93, 92, 93, and then 95 were our Super Bowl years. I was a month old when we won the Super Bowl.
That's crazy.
The second Super Bowl when we 2-peated.
I'm mad you act like I was way off. Like I was 3 years off.
You said I wasn't born yet. I was born.
Listen,
I
missed it by
I had been
3
on Earth
years
for 3
out
years
of
at that point. That's more than born.
All right. That is pretty.
Yeah,
crazy.
where
That's
they at now,
wild.
BC? What the heck? I was born. You don't even want to ask me. The last time the Knicks were, last time the Knicks made the finals, it was 99, right? So I was 6. Yeah.
That's
I was
wild.
6. Yeah. Christy, I wasn't 3 months. I was 3 years old. I was 3 years old in 96. All right, we're gonna move it along, and y'all stop clowning me. At least I've seen multiple Yankees World Series in my lifetime. 27.
I think it's almost a cheat code if you're a Yankees, Lakers fan. It's like you pick the best.
I'm
team
not a
of
Lakers
that time.
fan. I'm a Knicks fan.
Oh yeah, all right, you balance out there. But Yankees,
I'm not a Lakers
Yankees
fan.
and Cowboys, like the Cowboys was easy to root for back then. Like I feel like you just picked the best team.
I didn't pick. It's legacy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's legacy. Like my grandpa was a Cowboys fan. My dad grew up a Cowboys fan. I'm a Cowboys fan. Just like the Knicks, I didn't have a choice. My dad's a diehard Knicks fan. My family's Knicks fans. I grew up a Knicks fan. Same with the Yankees. If I could pick a different basketball team, one that won more, you don't think I would have done that? You think it's been fun being a Knicks fan my whole life?
I mean,
we've only just started getting good. You don't want to talk about the days where you only won 12 games a season. It was embarrassing.
This is true.
It was embarrassing. BC, you know that struggle. Yeah. What was the worst record we had? What was it, like 19-40? Something crazy like that? And so how that worked. You know how many draft picks I've seen come and go?
Nah, that's crazy.
I had Carmelo Anthony in a team full of just a bunch of people over the age of 40. It was insane. God. Wild times. That's why you can't listen. That's why when you guys come at me on social media about being a Knicks fan, you can't hurt my feelings. They're not there anymore. I've been through hell. You cannot hurt my feelings. I have been through the dark ages of being a Knicks fan. I have no emotion left. Nothing can break me. Listen, we're going to go ahead and move on. Detroit Lions, a team that you are high on.
For sure.
Entering the playoffs in unfamiliar position, likely playing at home to begin their playoff push. However, there is a lack of playoff experience with this young team. So Detroit, we running or we one and done in?
Nah, we running. We go play the Vikings. I'm saying we because I low-key have the Lions going to the NFC Championship. Even though I said it's the Cowboys year, nah, I'm telling you, the Lions going to make a run, and they go somehow get there. Mm-hmm. But, nah, they for sure making a run. They going to play the Vikings first round. They go spank them, and then it's going to come down to the divisional round. Whoever they match up against, we'll see.
Second round exit.
Not if they play the Cowboys, and the Cowboys got to go to Detroit.
We're talking.
Y'all don't play well on the road.
You saw them lose at home on Thanksgiving, right, to Green Bay. At home.
But at home, division games don't matter.
At home, lost at home. Listen, I don't think Detroit has this like astronomical.
Lose in Arizona.
I don't. Okay, that was like 3 weeks into the season. Leave me alone.
It doesn't matter. That's the road team
I watched them lose 4K on Thanksgiving Day at home. Detroit doesn't have a home field advantage. This is not the era of Barry Sanders.
You are who your road games say you are.
I ain't worried about Detroit.
The Cowboys got to go to Detroit.
I ain't worried about Detroit
in the playoffs. They're not winning that game.
I ain't worried about Detroit.
Okay.
I ain't worried about that.
We can bet on that game.
We can totally bet on that game.
Right.
I ain't worried about Detroit. Home, not home.
I can't wait.
Mars, my mama's house, their mama's house,
okay.
The 7-Eleven, the Walmart parking lot. We got you. We coming for you. I ain't worried about Detroit.
Cowboys fans. Right.
I ain't worried about Detroit. Motor City, what's up? I enjoy your city. Cool people there. Some dope restaurants. But I ain't worried about y'all at all. I can sleep soundly knowing I'm going to go ahead and play you guys. I ain't worried about Jared Goff. Jared Goff?
BC, save this clip, please.
What did Soulja Boy say? Drake? Jared Goff? I ain't worried about Jared Goff.
He only been to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, look where that got him, Detroit. Moving on. Speaking of Jared Goff and his former team, we're going to talk Matthew Stafford and the LA Rams. They are playing well, much better than they were at the beginning of the season. At the season ended today, they would sneak into the playoffs as a 7 seed. B, I know you're actually feeling the Rams right now. So, one and done? Or are they going to run?
I like the Rams, but I can't say everybody going on a run. Somebody got to lose. So, I got to say they one and done. Just because I gave almost everybody else in the NFC run. I think they're gonna put up a great fight on their outing. Like whoever they play, no matter where they're playing, who they're playing, it's gonna be an away game for them. But whoever they playing, they're gonna give a run. So one and done.
All right. We are gonna go ahead and see, but we're gonna play another game. It's What's the Word? And you remember the rules for What's the Word, right? A word.
I'm the king at what's the word.
We're not going to fill it with a sentence, a phrase, a poem, none of that. It's a word. All right, so first and foremost, Tom Brady says that Christian McCaffrey deserves the award over all the other quarterbacks. And this shares the same sentiments that Greg Olsen said during the 49ers game, where he said outside of the QBs, the best offensive player in the NFL has been CMC. Now, that's a little bit eyebrow raising considering the season that, Tyreek Hill is having, but that's a different conversation for a different day. So, CMC's chances of winning MVP are
slim.
Wow.
The reason why I'm saying it's slim is because it's usually a quarterback award, and if the quarterback is on your team who they trying to give the trophy to, they're not going to bypass the quarterback on your team and give it to you, right? Tyreek Hill has a chance because he's on a whole different franchise. If he can hit the 2K, him and Brock Purdy or Dak Prescott will be going head-to-head. But when it's a quarterback on your same team who is definitely going to get a lot of MVP votes, I think McCaffrey is done for. His chances are slim for sure. Although I think he deserves to be in the running, but not with Brock Purdy on the team.
I'm going to go.
Wait, let me read it for you. Let's see. Wait, where is the question? Hold on. Let me find it. CMC's chances of winning MVP are
20%. Yeah.
That's slim, right?
I think if it doesn't go to Tyreek Hill, it goes to a quarterback.
100%.
I just feel like Tyreek Hill gets it if he breaks the record, is what it is. You cannot not give it to him. And if you do, we should riot. It's just a historic season, a record-breaking season, a groundbreaking season, whatever you want to label it as, deserves the MVP award. Now, if he doesn't break the record, it goes to a quarterback before it goes to Christian McCaffrey. Yeah. It's really kind of just case opened, case closed. We're going to move on to Tommy DeVito. Now, this is a kind of a random story that has been surrounding Tommy DeVito over the past few days. The Giants quarterback was scheduled to make an appearance at a New Jersey pizza shop, but his agent, the guy with the fedora and the matching suits, tried to reportedly double the appearance fee after they had already agreed upon a deal, and eventually the deal was called off because the small family-owned business was unable to play. But to his credit, DeVito showed up to the pizza shop anyway without a fee, without receiving a fee at all, to make good on what was initially promised. So what's the word with DeVito's drama with a pizza shop is
crazy.
Okay, that wasn't my word, but you go ahead.
Because, all right, first off, agent, don't put me in that position.
Okay, agent.
Yeah, like, yo, I'm the starting quarterback for the Giants. Don't put me in that position to kind of turn this city, not against me, but put a sour taste in people's mouth when they loving me right now, right? Like, I'm climbing up this ladder. Like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, they loving me right now. Let's ride this train. If I'm not going to be there, just let them. Like, my thing is, if Tommy DeVito agreed to go there for a certain price, it should be done. You can't come back and double it. I don't even think DeVito would tell his agent to double it. I think his agent felt like, yo, you balling.
You try to capitalize on the moment.
Like, I promise you we can get this out of him. So that's on his agent. But for me, it's crazy because at the end of the day, don't feel too bad when you feel like you have to go to this pizza shop for free. Because I understand from a fan's sake, you're like, no, that's the right thing to do, B-Flow. People wanted to see him and they were waiting, this and that. But
people had already bought him tickets to see him.
Hey, listen, agent, you figure this out, right? Like, you get them back their money and maybe we'll come another time. Because us as athletes, we have no time to ourselves. Like, people think we might just go to practice and we come home maybe around like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, no. We come home around 6, 7 o'clock at night and we still have to watch more film. And then we get back to the facility at 5:30, 6 o'clock the next morning. We get one day off, which is Tuesdays. And usually that's the only day we have to take care of our body. We go into the facility. We want to get massages, treatment. I know that sounds like a spa treatment, but no, we really in pain, and we're trying to get this car accident off our body so we can walk. So for the fact that he's actually taking his time to go to a pizza shop to sign autographs or shake hands or take pictures for free, like that's crazy to me.
No, I agree. For me, DeVito's drama with a pizza shop is unethical, and I'm not saying that it's DeVito's fault at all. I agree with you. It's the agent. I'm just a firm believer when you give somebody your word, you honor it. And there have been situations in my career, that I've, told somebody that I was going to do something and the fee was already agreed upon. And then when I signed with my agency, they were like, that's too low. And I said, yeah, but that's what we agreed upon. I'm not going to raise the price on them. And also I'm cognizant of, different situations. Like there have been situations where I've done, speaking engagements and things, and the price is not what my price normally is, but you also have to be aware of, they don't have it, but this, is a good opportunity for people who are interested in doing what I do to hear, me speak, or, sometimes it's not about the money. It's about just, giving back to situations, to communities, to a demographic that has welcomed you and has embraced you. And, you should never, try to one up those people. This is a small family-owned business. 10,000 was probably a lot for them
That's
to
a
even
lot of money.
Cough up in the first place. So to try to spin the block and get 20 because you're having a little bit of a flash in the pan success. Let's be honest. Like Daniel Jones getting his job back. Tommy DeVito more than likely is not going to be a starter in this league. It's a moment in the sun, a flash in the pan, as you like. Like you just don't. You don't do that. It's just not ethical. It's just not humble. And again, I'm not putting this on DeVito. His agent saw dollar signs and thought he could one up. But, this is a kid, a local kid. The city has embraced him. They're coming to the games and then, they're doing his hand gesture and they're excited for him. I'm not saying you should have done it for free. It's nice that he did that event to make good on what he promised. But you also don't try to take advantage of people. It's just not cool.
I agree.
And
I agree. Agent.
I'm a firm believer in sometimes it's not all about the money. Sometimes you just do things because it's the right thing to do. It's a good thing to do. And shout out to Tommy DeVito for making good and honoring his word. But I'm confused. Like if they were going to offer him the 10 grand and the deal was off because they tried to up it to the 20, why couldn't he still get the 10 if he went?
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're not going to give me anything.
Yeah, I'm
and
confused
you want me
why
to
he had to
still
do it.
come?
I'm confused why he had to do it for free. Like, the number was agreed upon.
Yeah, it's just like, all right, give me the 10. Like, I don't know what that other thing y'all was working out
was
about.
That's coming out of my agent's fedora allowance. You want to be out there with your suits and your Concords. It's coming out of your allowance, Playboy. Since you want to play games, I'm gonna need that 10 grand wired to my account ASAP. We're going to go ahead and talk Defensive Player of the Year. Now, Browns' Kevin Stefanski advocated for this guy, Myles Garrett, saying he is unquestionably the best Defensive Player of the Year. So, the Defensive Player of the Year is...
Ooh, you have to go Myles Garrett. The way he's wrecking games, like
no Micah Parsons?
Nah, because...
No TJ Watt?
No TJ Watt. Myles Garrett, he wrecks the game differently, right? When you see, like, the Buffalo Bills, when they ran the ball at Micah Parsons or run away from him, you see how he's kind of ineffective. They get him tired. They have him thinking too much. That doesn't happen with Myles Garrett. He's affecting every play, run, pass, and I always go into this. You have to game plan for him. Like, you got to know what he is on the field at any time, which you have to do with Micah and TJ Watt, but usually you can get something done about it, or you have a way to stop them from impacting the game. With Myles, nobody's figured it out yet, and they won't figure it out. That's what's just kind of rampage he's on right now. So I think he's going to run away with the Defensive Player of the Year, and he's the one who is the anchor to this Browns defense. And you can see they rally around him, they build off him. He set the tone early. Even if it's a routine tackle, he'll destroy 2 blockers and get a tackle, and you just see the defense like, yeah, we here. So,
did you see the video? I forget what team that they were playing. Maybe it was the Steelers. I can't remember. But did you see the video of Myles Garrett? One of the players hits the ground and his helmet comes off, and Myles Garrett goes to grab the helmet to give it back to him, and the guys in the opposing team were like, no, give me the helmet. Like, we'll give it to him. I was cracking up. Like, it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I forget which team it was. I want to say it was the Steelers. But it was so funny to me because Myles Garrett, like, innocently just, like, goes to, like, get the guy's, like, he's
like,
looking,
I know, bro.
He's, like, looking around, like, where's the guy? Like, let me give his helmet back. And his teammates, not Myles Garrett's teammates, the other teammates on the opposite side were like, nah, you give me the helmet. I'm going to give it to him. I was like,
pass it to my dog. You ain't going to embarrass my dog.
I was cracking up. Like, you don't got to do this. Like, I'm going to do it. Just give me the helmet, bro. Like, I was cracking up.
Embarrass my boy. Give me the helmet.
It was hilarious. I was actually cracking up. Somebody said, I'm surprised Ashley didn't say De'Aaron Bland.
He had a lot of highlight plays, but
yeah, I don't think he's consistently been on Myles Garrett. Yeah. We'll see though. Listen, before we go, it was against the Steelers. Yeah, so it was against the Steelers again, which again is how it initially happened. It was Myles Garrett versus Mason Rudolph, where he swung the helmet at him. Yep. So they were like, you're not gonna catch us slipping twice.
We've seen this one.
We've seen this movie before. I know how this ends. Real quick before we close out the show, most disappointing team in the NFL in 2023.
Chargers. Los Angeles Chargers. They always had a roster. We always say they gonna make a run. They will be a contender. They gonna do this. They gonna do that. And for the last couple of years, they haven't been able to do anything.
Well, listen, LA. Brandon Staley is gone. The Wicked Witch is dead. Brighter days are ahead of you because Bill Belichick is coming to save you, boys. Don't worry. The dark days are over, Chargers. You guys are gonna go ahead and figure it out and get it together. But listen, we're not going to get it together because the show's over. So happy hump day, everybody. I hope you got all your holiday shopping done or you're on the verge of it. B-Flow here was mobbing his way through the malls yesterday.
And today.
Tomorrow we will be audio only, so you won't get to see my pretty face and his.
Handsome face. You can go ahead and keep going with it.
But we will be audio only, and Brandon will be back. So wishing you guys a very Merry Christmas, happy holiday, whatever it is that you celebrate. And we will go ahead and see you next week. Bye, y'all.